Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you're getting ready for the German driving theory test.
Yeah, the famous theory test.
Probably picturing yourself cruising along, enjoying that Fahrvergnügen, right? The joy of driving.
Ah, yes, the driving itself. But hang on, before the fun part, there are the rules. Lots of rules.
Exactly. And that's what we were focusing on today. No scenic route debates here.
Nope. This is purely about drilling down into the Master Driver's Guide to Driving in Germany for the stuff you absolutely need for that theory exam.
Think of this as your targeted study guide. We're cutting through all the extra details.
Exactly. The full guide is great, covers everything, car rentals manuals mostly, remember that, Autobahn etiquette, signs.
Tons of signs.
Oh, yeah. But today, it's all about what's likely to pop up on that test. We want to give you those aha moments.
Make it click. So you walk in feeling prepped, not panicked.
Precisely. Clear, memorable, test-relevant info. That's the goal.
All right, let's get into it. Section 3 of the guide, rules of the road. The absolute basics, first general laws, enforcement.
Okay, fundamentals. Gotta know these cold. Drive on the right, pass on the left. Obvious maybe, but essential.
Right. And seatbelts.
Non-negotiable. Everyone in the car buckled up. Period. And child seats, pay attention here. Under 12 and shorter than 1.5 meters. Needs an approved seat.
Okay, under 12 and under 1.5 meters. Got it. Anything else inside the car?
Yep, weird one. Maybe keep your doors unlocked while driving. It's a requirement.
Okay. And what about safety gear in the car? Stuff you need to carry.
Ah, yes, the mandatory kit. Warning triangle first aid kit needs to be the proper STVO compliant type. Check that. And a high-vis vest.
And for the test, they might ask where it is.
Could do, yeah. Know where it's stowed. Also, headlights, not just for nighttime. Bad weather, fog, heavy rain, headlights on, not just parking lights.
Makes sense. Motorcyclists.
Helmet and headlights, always on.
Okay, let's talk enforcement. German police. They seem pretty strict.
They are, yeah. And the exam expects you to know this. The GCP, German Civil Police, they can issue on-the-spot fines.
Verwarnungsgeld.
And if you can't pay, potentially they could impound your vehicle. So best to be prepared. You'll always get a receipt if you pay, though.
What about cameras? I hear there are lots.
Oh, definitely. Speed cams, red light cams, even tailgating cameras. Fixed, mobile. They can even be in unmarked police cars.
Unmarked cars. Wow.
Yep. And don't always expect a warning sign either. Tickets just arrive in the mail for the registered owner.
And how do they signal you to stop?
Could be a handheld lollipop paddle. Or you might see a flashing sign in their window saying, Polizei bitte folgen.
Please follow.
Okay. Means pull over safely.
Right, moving on. A big one, right away. Vorfahrt, or Vorrang. This sounds like it could be tricky. Hierarchy, you said.
Exactly. Think layers. Top layer. Police officer directing traffic. Their signals beat everything else. Everything.
So ignore the lights if an officer's waving you on.
Absolutely. Officer first. Then traffic signals. Then signs.
Yeah.
And only if there's none of those do you use the default rule.
Okay. And police signals themselves.
Key ones for the test. If they face you with both shoulders showing, you wait. If you see one shoulder, you generally have right-of-way. Hand raised usually means they're about to change the flow. And that lollipop paddle always means stop.
Gotcha. What about those diamond-shaped yellow signs, the priority roads?
Ah, the Vorfahrtsstraßen sign. If you're on a road marked with that, you have priority at junctions. The crossing roads will have give way or stop signs.
Vorfahrt, gewähren for give way, halt for stop.
Exactly. Now, sometimes the priority road turns. There'll be a schematic sign showing the thick line is the priority route.
And even if you're just following that thick line turning,
you still need to signal. That's a common mistake. Signal your intention, even if you're staying on the priority road.
Okay, good tip. What if there are no signs, no signals, no officer? The default rules.
Super important for the test. Public road beats a private road, always. And the big one. At uncontrolled junctions, T-junctions included traffic from the right has priority.
Right before left. Drill that one in.
Absolutely. It catches so many people out. Also, the zipper rule, Reißverschluss.
Zipper rule.
Yeah, when lanes merge in heavy traffic, you alternate one car from each lane. Like a zipper closing. And never, ever enter a junction you can't clear. Even if your light is green, don't block it.
Seems like there are tons of specific right-of-way situations. Any other key ones for the test?
A few more, yeah. Straight traffic usually beats turning traffic. Right turns generally beat left turns. Roundabouts. Yield to traffic already inside, usually signed anyway.
Emergency vehicle.
Blue lights, siren. They get absolute priority. Pull over to the right safely. Trams. Yield to them at junctions. And don't pass a stop tram with open doors. ever.
Buses.
Buses pulling out from marked stocks have priority. Narrow roads. Signs will show priority, but on steep mountain roads, uphill traffic usually gets priority. Pedestrians
Zebra crossings.
always have priority. Stop and let them cross fully. And finally, entering the Autobahn or an expressway. Yield to traffic already on it. Always.
Phew, okay. That's a lot on right away. Let's talk speed limits. Geschwindigkeitsbeschränkung. Germany and speed. What's the reality for the test?
Right. Forget the no limits everywhere myth for the test. Focus on the actual limits. Default limits first. Inside towns, urban areas, 50 km/h.
Unless signed otherwise.
Exactly. Outside urban areas, generally 100 kilometers for cars and bikes, Autobahn or similar expressways, no general limit for cars, motorcycles, but there's a recommended speed, an advisory limit of 130 kilometers. Trucks and buses have specific lower limits, though.
And signs can change all that.
Always. Posted signs trump default limits. You'll see zone signs, too. The limit applies to the whole area until an end of zone sign.
Are there conditional limits?
Yep. Might see a speed limit sign with a supplemental sign, maybe by Nessa, meaning when wet. There are minimum speed signs too, blue circle, white number, and advisory ones, square, blue background.
What about ending a speed limit?
The end of speed limit sign, white circle, number crossed out cancels that specific limit.
Yeah.
You then go back to the default for that type of road. Unless another sign immediately follows, of course.
Good distinction. Speed limits under warning signs.
Usually apply just until you're past the hazard shown on the warning sign.
Okay. Is there a visibility rule for speed?
Yes, absolutely. Fog, heavy rain, snow. If visibility drops below 50 meters, the maximum speed allowed is 50 kilometers no matter where you are.
Even on the Autobahn?
Even on the Autobahn. 50
Yeah.
meters visibility, 50 kilometer max. Also slow right down like walking pace, 7 kilometer max when passing a stopped bus with its hazard lights flashing. And always be extra cautious near kids, the elderly, or people with disabilities near the road.
Makes sense. Okay, quick but vital topic. Drinking and driving.
Very simple message here for the test and for life. Penalties are harsh. License suspension is common even for a first offense.
What's the limit?
The level where penalties can start is very low, sometimes as low as 0.03% blood alcohol content. And crucially, even if you're technically under the limit, if alcohol is a factor in an accident, you're in serious trouble.
So the advice is?
Don't drink at all if you're driving. Zero tolerance is the safest bet. And obviously, driving under the influence of drugs is also illegal with severe penalties.
Crystal clear. All right, parking regulations. This can feel like a maze.
It can be. First, know what parked means legally. It's leaving the vehicle or stopping for more than 3 minutes unless you're actively loading or dealing with passengers.
Okay, and where can you absolutely not park?
Big list here. Near junctions, blocking driveways, in marked disabled spots without a permit, bus room stops, on priority roads outside towns, on drop curbs, traffic islands, double parking.
Left of a solid white line in rural areas.
Right. And anywhere with a no parking sign, obviously.
Is there a difference between no parking and no stopping?
Yes, important difference for the test. No stopping areas are even stricter. Includes narrow roads where you'd block traffic, blind spots, sharp bends, pedestrian crossings, railway crossings.
Turn lanes, fire station drives, roundabouts, taxi stands.
Exactly. Also the Autobahn, including shoulders, and anywhere you'd block sight of a sign or signal. And of course, where a no stopping sign is posted.
So where can you park generally?
Generally on the street, unless it's banned, but you need to leave 3 meters clear for traffic. Pavement parking, sometimes allowed if signed, but don't block pedestrians.
Which side of the street?
Park on the right. Exceptions are one-way streets, or if there are tram rails on the right. And use a shoulder or parking lane if one's available. Don't just stop in the traffic lane.
Parking at night?
Use parking lights unless you're right near an all-night street light. Those usually have a red and white band on the pole.
And those little extra signs under the main parking signs. Crucial.
Absolutely critical for the exam. They tell you how the rule applies. Time limits, permit holders only, pay and display, Parkschein, or needing a parking disc, Parkschein.
The parking disc.
Yeah.
How does that work again?
You set it to your arrival time. Well, actually, you round up to the next half-hour mark. So if you arrive at 10:10, you set it to 10:30. That trips people up.
Good tip. Parking control zones.
Yes, a sign indicates you're entering a zone where specific parking rules apply throughout. Breaking rules, fines, maybe towed.
Okay. Urban traffic regulations, anything specific for towns we need to highlight for the test.
Entering a town, you'll see the yellow place name sign. That automatically means 50-kilometer limit unless otherwise posted. Horn use, only to avoid danger, not to greet people. Parking near rail crossings, prohibited within 5 meters inside towns.
And leaving town.
You'll see the sign with the place name crossed out. Default speed usually goes up to 100 km. Parking on priority roads is forbidden outside towns, and near rail crossings outside towns, the no parking distance increases to 50 meters. Also, warning triangle needed for breakdowns outside towns.
Got it. What about those really slow zones? Traffic calming zones.
Verkehrsberuhigte Zone. Big blue sign showing people playing. Speed limit is walking pace like 7 km max.
Wow, really slow.
Yeah. Pedestrians can use the whole street, kids can play. You must not endanger or hinder pedestrians. Wait if you have to. They shouldn't block traffic unnecessarily either, though.
Parking in these zones.
Only in marked bays, unless just quickly unloading, and when leaving the zone, you yield to all other traffic.
Right. The Autobahn. We touched on it, but key exam points.
Prohibitions are big here. No pedestrians, bikes, mopeds, slow vehicles under 60 kilometers. Absolutely no passing on the right except maybe inching forward in a very slow queue.
Stopping U-turns.
Forbidden. No stopping, parking, U-turns, reversing, anywhere. Not on shoulders, not on ramps. Only enter and exit at junctions and yield when entering.
Emergency lane.
Ah, yes, in traffic jams. Stop. Left lane moves far left, everyone else moves far right. Creates a channel for emergency vehicles. Very important. Hard shoulder if safe. Warning triangle, way back like 200 meters on the Autobahn. Use the orange emergency phones to report it. Don't use your mobile unless you have no other option.
Running out of fuel.
Technically illegal. It's considered a preventable stop. Keep an eye on your gauge.
Any other general don'ts for the test?
Mobile phone use while driving, big no-no unless fully hands-free and it doesn't block your hearing or you're parked with the engine off. Sunday holiday ban for heavy trucks over 7.5 feet. Emission zones in cities need the right sticker. And generally, avoid unnecessary noise revving, door slamming, pointless cruising.
Okay. Lastly, accidents.
Yeah.
What procedures are key for the exam?
Stop immediately. That applies even if you're just a witness. Injuries. Call 10112 emergency number or use an Autobahn phone. Provide first aid, it's mandatory. Don't move injured people unless they're in immediate danger. Secure the scene if possible. Watch for fire. Fuel.
No injuries. Cars movable.
Mark the positions first, maybe with chalk or photos, then move them out of traffic if safe. Warning triangle, out 100 meters on normal roads, 200 meters on Autobahn.
Then exchange details.
Yep. Licenses, ID, insurance, registration, rental info if it applies. Calling the police for a report is usually recommended, especially with damage or disagreement.
What if you hit an empty parked car?
You have to wait a reasonable time, say 30 minutes. If the owner doesn't show, you must report it to the police. Don't just leave a note. And inform your rental company ASAP if it's a rental.
Okay, that covers the rules pretty thoroughly. Yeah, Section 4. Traffic signs and signals. Huge topic for the test, right?
Absolutely massive. You really just have to learn them. The guide breaks them down. Warning signs, red triangles, point upwards usually. Regulation signs, circles. Red border means don't. Blue circle means do. Guide signs, rectangles, squares, various colors giving info.
Any specific signs to really focus on?
Definitely know the priority road sign, give way, stop, all the speed limit variations, no overtaking signs, parking signs, all of them, Autobahn signs like entrance end, urban areas start 10 signs.
And the supplemental signs underneath.
Crucial. Those little black and white rectangles modify the main sign. They give distances, times, exceptions, conditions. You have to read them together with the main sign. They change the meaning.
Traffic signals. More than just red, yellow, green.
Oh, yes. Sometimes just re-yellow flashing, like at level crossings. No signal. Proceed with caution, follow other rules. Arrows and lights mean the signal's only for that direction.
Left turns.
Green arrow usually means protected turn, safe to go. Flashing yellow arrow. Permitted turn, but yield to oncoming traffic first.
Right turn on red.
Only if there's a specific green arrow sign next to the red light. And even then, you must stop completely first, then yield to everyone before turning. Some places have special right turn signals, too.
What if the signals aren't working? Flashing yellow or dark?
Means it's uncontrolled. Revert to signs or the default right-of-way rules, like right before left. And remember, working signals always override signs.
Lane control signals, too. Above the lanes?
Yep, green arrows mean the lane is open, red X means it's closed. Pay attention to those on wider roads or autobahns.
Road markings. White is standard.
White is standard. Yellow is only for temporary construction zones, key markings. Solid thick line is a stop line. Broken thick line is a way to yield line. Zebra crossing for pedestrians. Zigzag lines often mean no stopping parking.
Lane lines.
Broken means you can cross if safe. Solid means you can't. Solid edge lines mark the edge of the road. Short, thick, broken lines often mark acceleration, deceleration lanes. Arrows on the road show mandatory directions for that lane.
Okay. Section 5, driving and parking in town. We have parking hard already. Anything else test relevant here?
Mostly reinforcing the parking rules. Understanding the signs, using the Park Shine voucher or Park Shine disc. Correctly remember setting the disc forward to the next half hour, and maybe basic meter parkour operation. Time limits are key.
Off-street parking. Park house, Tief garage.
Less focus usually on the test compared to on-street rules, but knowing free means available free and besetzt means occupied full might be useful context.
And back to the Autobahn quickly. Section 2, focus for the exam. Beyond the main rules.
Know the specific Autobahn signs, the blue entrance sign, the end sign, same sign with red slashes. Understand the distance marker boards. Recognize detour signs, Umleitung. Grasp the difference between the 130-kilometer advisory speed and actual mandatory limits shown on signs. And definitely know the emergency procedures breakdown, accident, emergency lane using those orange phones.
So wrapping it all up,
Yeah,
the key is really mastering those core areas.
absolutely. Rules of the road, especially right-of-way, speed, parking, Autobahn specifics, traffic signs and signals, you just have to know them, including the supplemental ones. Get those down cold.
Master those, review them, use the guide, maybe revisit this. And you should be in good shape.
Exactly. Focus on those core areas covered in the guide, understand the why behind the rules, and you'll significantly boost your chances.
Well, hopefully this deep dive helps everyone avoid any stau on test day. Best of luck with the exam, and look forward to you enjoying that far from doing it safely.